buffalo bulls, as we often call them, Dagga boys. From the look of it, there's still one lying down as well, so this is obviously where they slept last night. Probably came in in the later hours of last night, had a drink of water maybe even, and spent most of the evening here just lying down and sleeping a bit and ruminating. It's going to roll down a bit more, maybe get a quick glimpse of those baboons as well before they move off, and then we're going to spend some time with these buffalo. They'll be here for a while. Have a quick look over there just to give an idea of sort of our surroundings. See the baboons all running around there as well. There's the pala to our far right. This troop of baboons, the Boyatela clan or the Boyatela troop, just getting ready for their morning as well. And then of course, big old buffalo. Huge bull, the guy that's just turning away from us there. Massively built, solid guy. How many are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? About 10 of the big 5 here. 11, there's another one at the back. I'll get back to the big 5 term just now and explain a bit more where that originates from and what the meaning behind it is. The original meaning or the original term of big 5, which originated in the hunting days, buffalo probably features the number 1 there. Most of the time quite docile animals, but if you mess with them, it's a little bit like sort of flicking Mike Tyson's ear. It's not something you really want to go about doing. And a good look at us, lifting their noses, trying to sniff us. At the moment they can't really smell us. The breeze is sort of coming sort of from the side, almost from them towards us more. So even though they're testing and sniffing the wind for our scent, they're not going to get it just yet. So you can see that just the posture as they stand and look at us, the challenge in it, daring us to mess with them. Giving us a nice side profile there. All these bulls, like I said, refer to them typically as Dagga boys. Basically just means sort of big mature bulls, and quite often they hang around in groups like this, sort of anything from 2 or 3 together up to maybe 15 or so. And they're all in very good shape, as you can see. All these guys, except there is actually one cow with them at the moment, but except for the rest of them, well muscled, really good condition. The horns are really, the bosses are well developed, so they're at an age where they really can compete quite well with any other males, any other bulls. So I would often just hang around in these bachelor groups. They don't have to move as much. With your big herds, if you've got 300, 400, 500 buffalo, they've really got to move a lot. By being in smaller groups, they can afford to hang around where the grass is the best and there's lots of water, so they can really stay in good shape. Bless you. That's the big herds all the time. They'd have to move all the time, not always eat the best grass. So it benefits them to hang around in small groups. They're safe enough because they're in such good shape, such big guys. They can easily chase away predators. It's not likely that lions will take a big male out of a group like this. So they can afford to eat the best grass, chill out a little bit, drink water, get nice and strong, and then integrate themselves back into the big herds basically whenever they want to, and they'll be easily able to outcompete some of the other bulls there. water buck here as well at the back there. Quite a few mammals around. I mentioned just now that if you were to Big Five, we'll talk a little bit about that just now, and the original meaning of it, or the early meaning of the Big Five. Buffalo would probably be the number one on that. Now, Big Five has become a very big tourist term. It's something that people typically come to see, to an extent that it sometimes overshadows a lot of the other things that are out here to see, but it originates from the early hunting days, so from the 1900s, early sort of, well, late 1800s, even early 1900s, Western world to come and hunt in Africa for its big game. That's where the term game drive comes from. Back then it was seen as the hunting game. And Big Five were basically just the 5 most dangerous animal species to hunt. So that's why things like hippo aren't part of the Big Five, giraffe aren't part of the Big Five, cheetah not part of it. So the Big Five is your buffalo, elephant, lion, leopard, and then rhino. Now again, if you were technical about it, the term specifically only black rhino. Black and white rhino, obviously 2 different species. So these days, again, we talk about rhino almost as one species when you use the term Big Five. So technically we should say the Big Six for that matter. The reason for that is that it was the black rhino. The black rhino is a much more aggressive animal, not something you want to mess with too much. So the white rhino weren't seen as so dangerous to hunt. So these are terms that sort of have evolved as well. These days the Big Five actually includes 6 species, wild dog and the cheetah as well. So if you say you've got the Big 7, that means you've got all the major big predators, and those are things people are quite keen to see when they come out to Africa. Strong associations with Africa when you think of the African hunting dog, which was nearly extinct at one stage, and obviously the cheetah as well. Now when it really comes to hunting, if you read any of the old hunting stories in East Africa or Southern Africa, sort of round about the turn of the 18 and 1900s, of those animals, probably the most dangerous. They're incredibly aggressive once they're wounded or once they're threatened. To a large extent they'll try and avoid contact, but once they are, they're not afraid of taking on or confronting whatever is bothering them. So many hunters, many hunting dogs, many horses have been killed and injured during 150, 200 years of hunting in Africa. Percentage-wise, by far the most by buffalo. So that's where the term originates from.